50% of the people in the US have 50% equity in their house. There's a lot of money sitting out there that people could be tapping into to buy other properties. So they just don't realize it. So make your money make money.
Welcome to the Vacation Rental Show. This is your essential playbook to grow and scale your vacation rental business with advice and insights from the best in the biz. I'm your host, Lynell Gordon.
Welcome to the Vacation Rental Show. I'm Lynell Gordon, your host, and I'm really excited today to have Cassondra Liles. She is an award-winning real estate broker. She's an investor. She is an author with more than 25 years of experience helping clients build wealth through real estate. And she just got into short-term rentals recently and vacation rentals. She is the broker for the Key Team, and she's the author of a book called Real Life Monopoly. And Cassie combines deep market expertise with hands-on experience of operating short-term rentals from the mountains to the beach. So known for her, actually, it says you're known for your direct communication style and practical advice. She's known for her kindness and her brilliance in her work, in my opinion, from knowing her. But she helps buyers and investors make strategic decisions that create long-term results for them. And welcome, Cassie. So happy to have you.
Well, thank you. Made me sound amazing. Thank you so much for that.
You're amazing. That's the truth. Because I know that you started in one way and ended up in another. Tell me how you got involved in short-term rental space. Now, let's go back before the short-term rental space. I met you before I started my real estate career. I was a real estate agent for many years, and I was leaving the tech industry and couldn't decide what I wanted to do. And then I decided I wanted to go into real estate. And Cassie was like, well, you should join me. And I did.
Yeah, I wanted you. It's true. All true. No lies detected.
Best decision of my life. I hated leaving that job. That was the best time of my life. It was so much fun. This was when I first started real estate, not even rentals. I'd been doing vacation rental software for many years, but then just getting into real estate and selling real estate, getting signs out there and listings for so much fun.
It's energizing, isn't it? Yeah, it's fun.
So talk to us about how you moved from that, because I know after that you did a bunch of investing, and tell me about your career.
I had been doing real estate for about 20 years before I bought my first investment property, which is silly. And I look back and go, why? But my family, I didn't come from a family that was in real estate. My family weren't investors and so forth. So what ended up happening, it was by mistake, actually. My son went to ECU, to college, and I've always told my kids I would buy them a little townhouse or something for when they moved off campus. They could live in it, have roommates help pay the mortgage, and that would be their property, and they could just kind of sit. So I ended up buying this really cool historic property in Greenville, where ECU is, that I fell in love with. And then as I was setting it up, I started thinking, I'm not letting these boys move into this. No way. This is the coolest house. No way. I went to college. I know what these kids are going to do in this house. So I converted it from his house to a short-term rental. I had no clue what I was doing. I made every mistake. I had some friends that were in short-term rentals, but nobody really that was guiding me. So I made a lot of mistakes. I read books. I listened to podcasts, started taking tons of notes. The notes became a presentation that I would teach at my office to other agents, which became an outline for a book. And that's how the book got written, because I was just taking copious notes on all the mistakes I was making. So that's how it got started, kind of by mistake. And then when the first one, that was a really lucky purchase because it's real close to campus and it does really well. I was like, ooh, we're going to do this at the beach because I would like to have a beach house that somebody pays for part of the time and I can be in part of the time. And then it just started all clicking. So now I've got a house in the mountains that I can go to. So they're kind of hybrids for me. They're second homes, investment properties, but that's okay because I could probably buy properties that make a lot more money. But for me, they serve dual purposes. Another stream of income and my house.
Have you thought about, like some of our friends, have you thought about doing property management for a living and managing it for other people, Cass?
Yes. I do not have attention to detail. It is not my strength. And I know my strengths and weaknesses. So that, for me, I could set it up and I could certainly help manage it, but I would not want to be the day-to-day person. But yes, it has crossed my mind.
So I have friends that are managing my property in your area who were with us during that time in our professional career, and they're managing it. In order to do that mindset, now, there's a lot of attention to detail, you're right. And as we do our updates updates each year. I know that sometimes, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they talked about vacation rentals. And occasionally they mention them, but there's not a huge amount of information on how to do that. You really have to know what you're doing. You have a friend whose family's in it, and anytime you wanted to know more about that, you could do that.
And I joined the North Carolina Real Estate Investors Association, which was one of the best things I ever did. I surrounded myself with really smart people doing it bigger, badder than I was. And I learned a ton just being around those people. So once I decided, okay, I've got one, it's doing pretty well. We're going to, because I bought 8 in 2 years. So I got to figure this out. And I'm a process person. I'm super organized. I'm very regimented because I don't have naturally attention to detail. I set up really good systems and models, and that's what my strength is. So I figured it out at this point, and I'm probably going to get rid of a couple of my lower performing properties and 1031 exchange them into something else. But it was a big learning curve. It was super fun. I'll often say that I buy properties so I can decorate them because I really love the decorating process. I can picture in my head exactly how this property is going to look. And I've got my cart full of stuff online before I even close on it. And I just click and it all magically arrives. That's my favorite part of it.
So, what inspired you to write Real Life Monopoly? And share a little bit about what that is and your approach to building wealth through real estate.
So I wrote it because I didn't have a good resource at the time or a book that I felt like gave all the information that I include in my book. Some would give a little bit about how to do the system. Some would give a little bit about how to set up the bank accounts. I felt it was very piecemealed in the other books. In my opinion, gives it from the mindset. Do you want to be rich or do you want to be wealthy? All the way through these are the tools you need. So I feel like it is a compilation of all the notes I took and all the mistakes I made, and hoping that when somebody reads it, they don't make those same mistakes, or at least they get some nuggets from it. They go, oh, I didn't think about that. I should be doing that differently, or doing that in general.
What qualities would you say separate successful real estate investors from those who struggle to scale up?
Data. You got to really do the research. The numbers have to work. So many investors work off emotion. You got to work off of data. You got to know the tools. You got to know the numbers. Numbers are the language of real estate, and numbers are the language of business. You've got to know the numbers.
So I'm really grateful that a few years ago, you could get a loan, even on a second home, for 3.5%. So I'm really lucky to have gotten into that. To 2.9 something, I think. If I knew then what I knew now, I would have bought like 4 oceanfront. I would have sold every one of my other homes, and I would have, except for the one I live in, and I would have done that.
Every house I've ever sold, I wish I wouldn't have sold. I said, gosh, I wish I had. That'd have been a good rental or a long-term rental, or yeah.
That is so funny. The first house that I bought as an investment property was in Garner, and it was a little home that I bought. It was during the time that we were together too, probably. I bought it on the courthouse steps. It was a foreclosure, and I looked at that house. I bought it for $30,000 cash, and I sold it for what I had put into it to do it, which was, I think, $70,000 at the time. I needed $80,000 to buy out my business. That's why I went back. I went back to business. I stopped real estate, went back to business, went back to tech business. And the funny thing is, I looked at it last week, and it's a nothing house, and it's $250,000. So I agree. And I never sold another house that I bought. That's the truth. I have kept them. So I've kept them, although it's always a struggle, I think, when you consistently buy. So tell me this, looking ahead, what trends do you think are going to affect or impact the future, short-term rentals and real estate investing, both of those?
Well, I think the interest rates are really having a big effect right now. We're at 6.5%, so you're not going to get second home or investment property for less than 7.5%, 8% generally, unless you're going outside of traditional funding. So that has a big effect right now. I have my Wilmington beach house on the market, but it's been super tough because people are struggling with the financing. Some of the markets also are super saturated. And that's something that when people come to me and they say, hey, I'm thinking about in this town, and yeah, it's a great town, but are there too many Airbnbs? Are there too many VRBOs? You got to look at a whole range of factors, not just, oh, I want a house in this town. It needs to be a much bigger analysis than that. So I think saturation rate in markets, everybody is trying to do this thing. I really think that there are more people that probably should not be in the business than are in the business because they just aren't really running it like a business. They're just kind of winging it, and it's going to hurt them in the long run.
What if 3 days could define the next horizon for your business? Streamline Summit 2026 is coming to the Rosen Creek Hotel in Orlando, Florida, September 15th through the 17th. Visit streamlinesummit.com to secure your spot today. Here's what's in store. Day 1 kicks off with roundtables, one-on-one meetings, and a welcome cocktail event. Days 2 and 3 bring keynote speakers, expert-led sessions and panels, plus an exhibitor showcase built around the tools that are transforming our industry. Each evening brings something to look forward to as well, capping off with a farewell event on the final night. Because 3 days of momentum deserve a proper send-off. This is where vacation rental professionals come together to connect, to grow, and to move forward. Don't miss your seat at the table. Visit streamlinesummit.com and register today. We'll see you there.
Talk to me about investment. Let's talk about the trending and what's happening in investing right now. If you want to be successful today in 2026 in investing with the interest rates the way they are, what are the things that you tell your clients they have to think about?
Well, I always say look with the end in mind. And I always say be a goal digger, and you got to really look at what your goals are. Is this a property that you just want to make the most bang for the buck? Like I'm trying to get the highest return on investment, or is it a hybrid property like mine are? Last weekend, my kids stayed at the beach house. I lost out on the rental for the weekend. I probably lost out on $1,000, but that's why I bought it, because I want my kids to have a place to go and stay and have fun. So you got to look with what's the goal. Is it just to make a ton of money or some money, or is it hybrid? One of my properties isn't performing great, so I've transitioned it over to a long-term rental. So you just kind of got to look at the big picture of exactly what your goals are.
What do you think are the most important things? Now, you're talking about numbers. What are the most important numbers that people need to look at when they're looking at buying an investment property?
You need to look at the saturation rate. You need to look at what the nightly rate's going for. Of course, you've got to cover your mortgage. You got to at least have the 1% rule where you're covering your mortgage. You've got to look at ancillary fees. How much is going to be the cleaner going to be? How much landscaping going to be? Those things can eat you up. All of my properties, I go in, and if it has carpet, I immediately rip out the carpet. If the HVAC is older than 10 years, I replace the HVAC. There's a lot of cost that could eat you up if you're not working your numbers right. House that probably is, I need a new roof. So new roof is going to cut into my annual profit. So you got to really look at the whole house. I mean, the whole picture of what your costs are going to be, not just the mortgage. You've got a lot of other expenses.
So do you have a worksheet that you give to clients that are talking about doing that? Or do you just sit down and talk to them? Or do you make sure they know that? How do you do that? How do you handle that part?
I'm just a sit down and talk kind of girl. We kind of map it out. I really want to understand what their goals are, because that really will pinpoint the type of property that they want. If their goals, there's two. Is it a straight investment or is it a hybrid family home? And they're two totally different properties. So we sit down, we talk about their goals, I get really clear about that. And then we start looking at markets. We start looking at, you want a house here, and that market's pretty saturated. What would this be okay? Another next town over, and so forth. So it's not cookie cutter. It's kind of evolves as the discussion evolves.
What keeps you passionate about what you're doing?
It's fun. Decorating houses. No, just kidding. It's fun.
That part I hate so bad.
I'm not buying any more Airbnbs right now. I'm not buying any more vacation rentals right now. I am tapped. I self-manage. I have 8. And I'm to the point, my systems and models only carry me so far. So I don't want to buy anymore because I don't want to get a co-host, or I don't want to get a management company, because for me, I feel like I'm okay. So I'm transitioning over. I'm going to start teaching classes. I wrote the book. From the book, I'm doing a module, like a online module class that I'm writing right now. So I'm kind of transitioning into that, which has been really fun and unforeseen. I didn't know I was going to write the book. Writing the book was like, still can't believe that I wrote the book, to be honest with you. I mean, some days I'm like, what? But it kept evolving from notes to slides to chapters. And then I was just staying up till 1 or 2 in the morning writing. And so just kind of evolving excites me, because I didn't see the book coming. I didn't see the teaching coming, and it's kind of just taking off. It's really cool.
I'm very excited for you. I really am. I'm excited for what you're doing. I think it's so interesting that you got into short-term rentals from real estate. And I guess after hearing you talk, I guess it was because it was just a natural flow to do because you were doing investing.
You know a crazy stat? 5.5% of Americans own a second home, and 5% of realtors own a second home. Less realtors than the general public own a second, which I think is crazy.
That is insane. We're so busy.
Well, I don't think we got our hats on that. We go into our listings and go, oh, this might be a good investment property. Every listing we go into, we should be looking at it. Do I want to buy it first? Because there's some really good opportunities out there that would be a win for everybody. And 50% of the people in the US have 50% equity in their house. There's a lot of money sitting out there that people could be tapping into to buy other properties. So they just don't realize it. So make your money make money.
Make your money make money. That is a really great.
Make your money make money. Mailbox money. Let's make money while we're sleeping.
There are so many different strategies for becoming wealthy, and that is a big one. Let your money make money for you. So tell me, what are you most excited about going forward with your clients and your investors?
What I'm most excited about right now is this course that I'm writing. I was encouraged to do it by somebody that I really respect, and I didn't really think I wanted to do it. And as I'm setting it up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can see how many people this is going to help. So that's what I'm really excited about, is creating this online course. At first, a slow start, and now I'm like jazzed by it. Every time I sit down and start creating, it's the creative process I'm really loving.
Here's the interesting thing about what you're doing. I think about all the CE I've had, and the one class that I had that I was most interested in out of all the ones I did, do you remember when that, I can't remember his name. He used to do the investment class, and he would go in and you'd have a worksheet and he would say, here's how much money you need. And I found that the most fascinating class of any CE class.
Oh, it's fascinating. Economic model, the Keller Williams economic model. You'd say how much money you wanted to make in a year, and you'd work it backwards, how many appointments you need, how many go under contract, how many close.
That was a very good class.
So good. It's so eye-opening.
No, that one is. This was a different one. This was one that was taught by a guy from the Real Estate Commission who was talking about investing, literally buying investment properties. And he was talking about, here are the whole list that you had to have in order to do that. And he taught that for like 4 or 5 years. I can't remember his name. But that was a fabulous, interesting continuing education class for real estate agents in the North Carolina. We do so much education there. We really do. So you don't remember that class? I'm so surprised. No wonder you wrote your book.
I've taken so much CE over the years. Lord have mercy.
I probably still have the materials for that because I was so fascinated. When I went to buy my investment property, I didn't do that. I bought it sight unseen. I wrote to my family and I said, I want to buy a oceanfront vacation rental that's going to make me money. What do we have? We got this great deal. I said, I'll take it. So, I mean, mine was nothing like that.
Every rule. You didn't analyze a single number, did you?
No, I knew that they did, but they knew what they were talking about. And I can tell you that it more than pays for its mortgage. The mortgage there is, if I were to buy a house, it would be like, I could buy a regular living house now, and it would be that amount of money. My mortgage is $48,000 a year, period.
Wow.
On my vacation rental house. And it makes well over 5 times that. So
then you got lucky.
I got blessed. My family looked out for me, and God really looked out for me. And I'll tell you something else, and this is something interesting for you guys to think about, because it happens. The real estate agent that sold that house to me, we were going through a time where it was shifting markets. And we're always shifting markets, but it was shifting markets. And it was a buyer's market. And it had changed. I bought it in January, February, March. It had changed in January really to be a seller's market. And so all the other houses on the market were way more per square foot than mine for the same thing. It's such a good deal.
Yeah, you can't pass. Some of those you can't pass up.
It was really, I guess the buyers were really motivated. I know the real estate agent was really motivated. So there you go. So I got really lucky on that.
See, that real estate agent should have bought that house.
And I noticed that she's selling the one right next to mine. And I thought, head down, it's not the time. Head down.
Don't do it.
Yeah, no. You have to have, would you say for investors, borrowing at that amount, and if you're looking for a vacation rental now, what is the X that you suggest? When you count the cost, do you have like X in your head that you're like, it has to make X amount more than my expenses in order to really make it worth my while?
Well, I think it depends. 1.25 is general kind of rule of thumb, but it depends whether it's going to be a hybrid home like mine or if it's going to be a straight investment property and if it's going to be a short-term rental, mid-term rental, long-term rental. So there's lots of different variations, but I go in the 1.25 rule. I think it needs to cover my costs to make 25% more.
So that's what I was taught too. That's what they taught in this real estate school.
Oh, really? In that class?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it's still that number. They're still looking at 1.25. Very good.
But then you got to factor in, you do have to factor in cleaning, lawn care. Somebody stole a big picture off my wall the other day, loss, and so forth. You got to factor in not just the mortgage. And that's why I keep telling people there are more numbers. If you're just factoring the mortgage and the insurance, the numbers might not work.
Yeah, even in property management, it's so different. I had somebody steal I had a child's picnic table that was made out of really specialized plastic. I can't remember the name of it right now. It never dies. And I had bought that and they literally picnic table for the child. I bought another one. I was like, okay. No, it's a cost of doing business. You really have to think about that 25% is going to be tight if you're not careful.
And seasonality. If you're buying a house at the beach, it may be real tight over December, January, February. You may not be covering. So then you might consider a hybrid model where you're short-term renting it in the high season and then doing a midterm rental in the low season, somebody in there for 3, 4, 5 months to pick up the cost. So sometimes you have to be creative.
You definitely have to space it out. If you're doing a rental that is seasonal, you definitely have to space it out. Thank you so much. I've kept you. I know you've got another appointment after this.
I'm so glad we got to finally do it.
I am too. I think it's interesting the way that you transitioned into the real estate investing. Did you get more confident after you bought your own?
For sure. Well, because I knew what I didn't know before. There were all these things that I'm like, I didn't even know about that. I'm talking about it. I've been in the business for a long time. I'm thinking I'm an expert. And then I go, ooh, I didn't know about that because I hadn't done it before. So now I have a mix of commercial properties, short-term rentals, long-term rentals. I don't have any midterms, but I feel like now I've lived a few lives that I go, oh, okay, I really know what I'm talking about now. Before I was faking it till I made it.
Well, I completely understand that. I think we all do that when we're at the beginning, but I think that living it and working in it, you do gain confidence. I wish you so much luck in all that you're doing, especially in this coursework that you are creating. Let me know when you get it out. I'd be very interested in listening to it and recommending to my listeners if it's a good investment. Way to go, because they're hard to find. I mean, quite honestly, it's hard to find from people that you trust and people that you know have lived there, done that, been there, got the t-shirt.
Well, this isn't just read along. This is you have homework. You've got to really think through. You've got to think about your goals. It's more of a interactive things that I want to make sure that boxes you are checking before you move forward, because you can't skip to the end or you're going to be holding a property that is not what you thought it was going to be. And you got lucky and I love that for you, but those stories aren't all like that.
No, I know. I know they're not. Well, I had experts that were doing it on the other end for me. I have to admit that. They've been in vacation rentals, my family, forever, since they were kiddos, like us starting out. I think that what you mentioned earlier about setting goals in that business model of working backward, how much do you want to make a year, and working backward into that number, I think that was one of the most, and I'd been in business, for 15 years when I took that class. And I'd never thought about doing it that way. I had always thought about, watch my cost. Here are my numbers, knew my numbers. Here's my P&L. Here's how much I can afford with my staff. Here's how much I can afford for XYZ. And if I do this much in sales, here's what I've got. But the way that class was laid out, that was insane.
Now you got to find out the name of this class.
No, I'm talking about the one you're talking about. I'm talking about the KW class now.
Oh, the KW class.
Yeah, because I hadn't thought about that in many years. So when you brought it up, I was like, gosh, yes. That now, the other one was the same way too. It started with how much money you have. Here's how much it's going to cost you to get that money. Here's what you're going to do with that money. And it really did do it that way. So I'm thinking those successful stories and the way that you're talking about doing your course theirs are very similar, backing into that number and where you want to be at the end. So fabulous. Well, Listen, thank you so much. Anytime you want to come in when you get that done, let me know and we'll come back and share. But Cass, thanks for coming and talking to us. I know you've won tons of awards and I have not looked them all up. You won tons of awards before when I first met you. So I pray that God will continue to bless you and that you'll continue to love what you do.
I appreciate you, friend. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So Cassie, if people want to buy your book, tell me what the name of it is again and where can they find it? It's like Monopoly. That's all I remember about it.
It's called Real Life Monopoly, and you can get it on Amazon.
Okay. And when people read it, what are they going to learn?
They're going to learn to figure out what their goals are. They're going to learn how to find financing for the property. They're going to learn how to pick the right property. It is from the beginning to the end. They're going to learn how to set up their systems, their tools. It's kind of everything. It's everything I wish somebody would have told me before I got into the business.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So guys, if you want to get it, you can get it on Amazon. I'm going to read it. I'm interested in it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This episode of the Vacation Rental Show is brought to you by Streamline. To find out more about how Streamline can grow your vacation rental business, visit streamlinevrs.com. Make sure to search for the Vacation Rental Show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at Inhabit, thanks for listening.